So thank you all very much, and President Moon, Yoon, thank you for everything you've done so far. Appreciate it. And the people of the Republic of Korea haven't forgotten, as evidenced by the fact that the Prime Minister of Korea is here for this ceremony. I doubt whether this has ever happened before. I can't say that for certain. And let no one make a mistake of the meaning of this historic day and the values reflected in the AANHPI. Community here in the United States. As they say in Claymont-Delaware, all use guys.
The Disinformation Governance Board was the victim of disinformation. So the difference between dis and misinformation is disinformation is false information spread with malign intent. And clearly there was a malign intent on some actors in the media and in politics who just really stood up to the formation of this board because it would be confronting disinformation. They completely mischaracterized its mission. And frankly, this childish behavior is endangering our national security now. This board was set up to counter real disinformation that makes Americans less safe. So those who stand in opposition to the board, which, as the secretary said, was just an internal coordinating mechanism, something to make sure that we were efficient and using best practices, are standing in the way of our national security.
The problem is that the FDA refuses to go back into the plant and inspect it. The Abbott plant has been shut down, regardless of the fact that it's already been proven the bacteria that was in the product didn't even come from the plant. Yet the plant is still shut down, even though Abbott went back in and scrubbed the entire plant and has been begging for the FDA to come back in and look at the plant so they can get reopened. What has the White House done? Nothing. What has the FDA done? Nothing. What has the Speaker Pelosi done? Nothing. Isn't even talking about it. This is so ridiculous. What's the issue here, guys? What's wrong with getting the FDA to go back into it, in there? What's holding them up? No answers, no accountability. But that's how this entire administration runs. They hold no one accountable, and they just think the American people is going to forget about it. This is the kind of stuff that's ridiculous, that's driving us nuts, and what we're fighting against every single day.
And here we are. It's another week and another bill to try to divert attention away from what Joe Biden himself did to raise gas prices to the point where families can't even afford to drive to work, can't even afford to go to the grocery to pay 15, 20% more for goods because of Biden's inflation. But let's start from the beginning. Let me read you a quote from candidate Joe Biden. Quote, "No more drilling on federal lands. No more drilling, including offshore. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period." Ends. That was Joe Biden, the candidate.
No more drilling on federal lands. No more drilling, including offshore. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period. No new fracking. Have a transition from the oil industry, yes.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated.
Would you be willing to sacrifice some of that growth, even knowing potentially that it could displace thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of blue-collar workers in the interest of transitioning to that greener economy?
The answer is yes.
We are going to get rid of fossil fuels.
I've argued against any more oil drilling or gas drilling on federal lands.
No one's going to build a coal-fired plant again, and we're going to get rid of the ones we have now.
Unfortunately, day one, he started doing just that, an assault on American energy. And what's been the result? Dramatically higher gas prices starting day one when he canceled the Keystone Pipeline. Wasn't just that pipeline. He canceled any new pipelines to move oil in America. He's not against all pipelines. He greenlighted Russia's pipeline, let them sell their oil to Europe, canceled ours. What else did he do? Well, let's just hit a few of the points that are all, by the way, not included in this bill. So, no new leases on federal lands. In fact, just last week, amidst high gas prices, Biden shut down the Gulf of Mexico and Alaska, some of the richest reserves in the United States, making us more addicted to foreign oil. In fact, if anybody's going to be sued for gouging, it should be the gouger-in-chief, Joe Biden, who has created this problem. But this bill doesn't allow him to be sued. You can sue other people in this bill. You could sue your local gas station if you don't like the high price of gas, but you can't sue the person who actually did these things that have increased the price of gasoline, Joe Biden. Let's actually open up America again. Stop relying on foreign countries for our energy when we can make it here cleaner, better than anyone in the world, and lower gas prices and address this problem. This bill doesn't do it. We ought to bring up the bills that actually fix the problem.
And what have we accomplished? Nothing but messaging pieces. I mean, there's a lot of conversations going on about the baby formula. I mean, people are posting pictures all over social media that has baby formula shells that are empty. And what is the Democrats' response to this? Let's not actually address the problem that's happening. Instead, let's pass a bill that throws a ton of money at the problem, because that's obviously is going to solve all issues. Just throw money at it and it'll surely be fixed. But by the way, this money doesn't even get spent till next year, instead of actually addressing the problem, which...
And that timeline is important because contrary to what we've heard, this didn't just sneak up on people. This has been many months in the making.
I was talking to my brother about the millions of refugees at the border that are being coordinated and organized through different organizations. The U.S. military and Poland, they don't have a baby formula shortage. Why? Because people foresaw the need and acted accordingly, and it was organic. That was his answer to me. Right here in America, we had a situation that could have been predicted. The shortage was predictable, but yet there's no organic and no real leadership on this that is strong enough to move the meter.
The FDA dragged its feet. They knew in September, they knew in October through a whistleblower's report that there were serious infractions. They didn't interview the whistleblower until December. They went back in January and they found contamination, and the recall only occurred in February, and that was 4 months. Why 4 months? There's got to be answers to that question from the FDA.
Today, our economy is about 3% larger, even accounting for inflation, than it was just before the pandemic, and that's the fastest recovery in the G7. So this success was not given. It wasn't a given. It was rather, it's been our work over the past 17 months that have resulted in well-designed and well-administered policies that have provided the tailwind for long-term recovery.